A Treatise of Satan's Temptations. By Richard Gilpin. A Discourse of the Malice, Power, Cruelty and Diligence of Satan. Second part of Chapter 13. Of Satan's diverting our reason, being the third way of blinding men. His policies for diverting our thoughts, and more. 4. The fourth way by which our lust prevails in Satan's hand to blind knowledge, and that is by distracting and disturbing it in its work. This piece of subtlety Satan the rather useth, because it is attended with a double advantage, and, like a two-edged sword, will cut either way. 4. 1. A confusion and distraction in the understanding, will hinder the even and clear apprehensions of things, so that those principles of knowledge cannot reach so deep nor be so firm and full in their application. For as the senses, if any way distracted or hindered, though never so intent, must needs suffer prejudice in their operations, a thick air or mist not only hinders the sight of the eye, but also conduceth to a misrepresentation of objects. Thus is the understanding hindered by confusion. But, 2. If this succeed not, yet by this he hinders the peace and comfort of God's children. It is a trouble to be haunted with evil thoughts. To work this distraction. 1. First, Satan useth a clamorous opportunity, and doth so follow us with suggestions, that what way soever we turn, they follow us. We can think nothing else, or hear nothing else, they are ever before us. 2. Secondly, he worketh this disturbance in our thoughts, by levying a legion of temptations against us, many at once, and of several kinds, from within, from without, on every side. He gathers all, from the Dan to the Beersheba of his empire, to oppress us with a multitude. So that while our thoughts are divided about many things, they are less fixed and observant in any particular. 3. Thirdly, he sometimes endeavors to weary us out, with long solicitations, as those that besiege a city, when they cannot storm, endeavor to waste their strength and provisions, by long siege. His design in this is to come upon us, as Ahithophel counseled Absalom, when we are weary and weak-handed by watching and long resistance. 4. Fourthly, but his chief design is to take the advantage of any trouble, inward or outward, and by the help of this, he dangerously discomposeth and distracts our counsels and resolves. If any have a spirit distempered, or lie under the apprehensions of wrath, it is easy for him to confound and amaze such, that they shall scarce know what they do, or what they think. The like advantage he hath from outward afflictions, and these opportunities he the rather takes, for these reasons. 1. First, usually inward or outward troubles, leave some stamp of murmuring and sullenness, upon our hearts, and of themselves distemper our spirits, with a sad inclination to speak in our haste, or to act unadvisedly. Job's affliction embittered his spirit, and Satan misseth not the advantage. Then he comes upon him with temptations, and prevailed so far that he spake many things in his anguish of which he was ashamed afterward, and hides his face for it. Once have I spoken, but I will not answer, yea, twice, but I will proceed no further. Job 45. 2. Secondly, by reason of our burden, we are less wieldy and more unapt to make any resistance. God himself expresseth the condition of such, under the similitude of those that are great with young, who, because they cannot be driven fast, he gently leads them. But Satan knows a small matter will discompose them, and herein he deals with us, as Simeon and Levi dealt with the Shechemites, who set upon them when they were sore by circumcision. 3. Thirdly, troubles of themselves occasion confusion, multitudes of thought, distractions, and inadvertencies. If men see a hazard before them they are presently at their wits' end, they are puzzled, they know not what to do, thoughts are divided, now resolving this, then presently changing, to a contrary purpose. It is seldom but, as in a multitude of words there is much folly, Proverbs 10:19, so in a distraction of thoughts there are many miscarriages, and Satan with a little labor can improve them to more. Here he works unseen. In these troubled waters, he loves to angle, because his baits are not discerned. 5. Fifthly, our considerations and reasonings against sin are hindered, by a bold forward precipitancy. When men are hasted and pressed to the committing of sin, and like the deaf adder stop their ears, against the voice of the charmer, Psalm 58:4, in this case, the rebellious will, is like a furious horse, that takes the bridle in his teeth, and instead of submitting to the government of his rider, he carries him violently whither he would not. Thus do men rush into sin, as the horse into the battle. The devices by which Satan doth forward this, we may observe to be these, among others. 1. First, he endeavors to affright men, into a hopelessness of prevailing against him, and so intimidates men, that they throw down their weapons, and yield up themselves, to the temptation. They conclude there is no hope, by all their resistance to stand it out against him, and then they are easily persuaded to comply with him. To help this forward, Satan useth the policy of soldiers, who usually boast high of their strength and resolutions, that, the hearts and courage of their adversaries failing, the victory may fall to them without stroke. The devil expresseth the disdain and scorn of our weak opposition, as Goliath did of David. Am I a dog, that thou comest to me with staves? Dost thou think to stand it out against me? It is in vain to buckle on thine armor, and therefore, better were it to save the trouble of striving, than to fight to no purpose. With such like arguings as these, are men sometimes prevailed with, to throw down their weapons, and to overrun their reason through fear and hopelessness. 2. Secondly, sometimes he is more subtle, and by threaping men down, that they have consented already, he puts them upon desperate adventures of going forward. This is usually where Satan hath used many solicitations before, after our hearts have been urged strongly with a temptation. When he sees he cannot win us over to him, then he triumphs and boasts we are conquered already, and that our thoughts could not have dwelled so long upon such a subject but that we had a liking to it, and thence would persuade us to go on, and enjoy the fullness of that delight, which we have already stolen privately, over shoes, over boots. Now though his arguings here be very weak, for though it be granted, that by the stay of the temptation on our thoughts, he hath a little entangled us, it cannot hence be inferred, that it is our wisdom, to entangle ourselves further. Yet are many overcome herewith, and give up themselves as already conquered, and so give a stop to any further consideration. Thanks.